Guten Tag, my name is DMAD, and welcome to another installment of BEC Trek After Thoughts. So in this video, we're just going over my most recent visit to Tanganyika Wildlife Park and, the most recent episode of BEC Trek. I think this is going to be pretty much the norm. I want to do the episode of BEC Trek and then have BEC Trek After Thoughts, kind of like an after show. And like I said, the point of this series is to go over things that I didn't cover or wasn't able to put into the video. There's not much research that goes into it. It's mainly just rants or just talking. And if any of these topics expand into their own video in the future, so be it. So let's get into it. So the first topic I wanted to talk about was their Palu and Binturong. In the video I said I love and hate it. Obviously I don't really hate that they show that it's a Palu and Binturong, which is a subspecies of Binturong from the Philippines. The main reason I did that joke is just because as I always mention, I do my a lot of cataloging with my photos. So, to know that there's multiple subspecies makes you paranoid because it's like, have I always been photographing Paluan binturongs? Or have I been photographing other species or subspecies? Well, after looking through Wikipedia, I know that's not the best source, but it's the only one I could find. I realized that there's not much info on the other subspecies of binturongs, as a subspecies. Obviously, there's information on the binturong as a species, but the only subspecies to have its own dedicated Wikipedia page was the Paluan binturong. The other subspecies had stuff like what year it was proposed that they be their own subspecies and where they can be found, through Southeast Asia and Indonesian islands. So I thought that was interesting because I know the Paluan binturong had said that they're the most common in the exotic pet trade, and that kind of made me think, okay, well, if there's this much information, and the Paluan binturong also had other website pages dedicated to it, even if the information was limited. But I'm pretty sure that I could be wrong. If I am wrong, feel free to point it out. But as far as I know, any binturongs in zoos are probably Paluan binturongs. So yeah, moving on to the next topic. I've been having a bunch of mic trouble lately, so this is actually the second full-on recording of a video. The first one sounded like this. Guten Tag, my name is DMAD, and welcome to another episode of BEC Trek After Thoughts. And that's mainly because of the adapter, because phones are dumb, and for some reason they had to take out, well, I think I know why they had to take it out, but they took the aux port out, for your, before Bluetooth you have the aux port, but they took it out, and now you gotta have some kind of adapter if you have a microphone, and I like it better than doing anything Bluetooth, and it's all a complicated system, but hopefully now the audio sounds good. So next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Aldabra tortoise pen and what that could possibly mean. So I don't understand why, so where the Aldabra tortoise pen used to be, it used to be an area where, I believe there were a bunch of picnic tables, and there was a stage where people could do, presentations. I know they had one presentation a couple years ago when I filmed the video for Twilight Tour where a goat was doing, painting and stuff. They got rid of it, and they moved a lot of tortoises from behind the scenes. I was talking with the keeper about this. They moved them from behind the scenes into this tortoise pen. Part of it was because the two tortoises that lived by the rhinos, they were getting too big, and if you look at their habitat, there's no door. They actually have to move them in and out. There's no little barn or winter quarters, so they have to move them out for storms and stuff. So they figured it's just easier to have it there because it's connected to the barn where the honey badgers and the kangaroos and all that live. So, but I think it's also in an effort because they're working on the safari barn on the other side of the park. So I think this could mean that changes are coming to Tanganyika, bigger changes. So we'll see. Speaking of the Aldabra tortoise pen, the old one, they added a group of radiated tortoises. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to breed them, because radiateds are critically endangered. And luckily, reptiles, good thing about reptiles is that those are one of the animals that you can reintroduce back into their native habitat. I'm not saying to breed your pet turtles and release them into the wild. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But what zoos do is they'll partner with organizations out in the field, like out in Madagascar, and they'll breed genetically healthy stock, strong individuals, and a lot of times they will try to rewild them, so trying to teach them how to forage and kind of act for themselves, which obviously reptiles are good at doing. I mean, bad example, but look at the pythons and iguanas in Florida. I mean, yeah, but I don't know if you can hear that, but the AC just turned on, but whatever. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the radiated tortoises who are critically endangered. If zoos, like what a lot of zoos do, is they will they'll breed them, reintroduce them into the wild, into like Madagascar. So because they are critically endangered mainly due to habitat destruction and poaching. I think that's also another interesting thing, because now that I think about it, Tanganyika also works with the Eden Reforestation Project, which is a project around the globe that replants and regrows forests. So like in Madagascar, South America, Southeast Asia. One more thing about babies. I was thinking about their rhino. Little pet peeve of mine is that I actually forgot to get a good picture of a rhino, so I had to get this picture, which is actually kind of cheating because it's a screenshot from a video I took. But anyways, that's besides the point. Marjan, or MJ. One thing that I would talk about quite a bit a couple years ago is his significance. So Marjan was born from Monica and Stax, who are the two Indian rhinos at the zoo. However, Monica, she is the first Indian rhino to be born of artificial insemination. So that means that Marjan is the first rhino to be born naturally of a parent that was born of artificial insemination, which I think is cool and maybe could mean something more when it comes to breeding endangered animals and conservation and all that. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I still think it's kind of cool. So speaking of babies, I've been talking about breeding radiated tortoises and rhinos, but my last point with it was kind of something that, and this may go into the theme of the series where I talk about something that may spark into its own dedicated video, but kind of just talking about where the baby animals go. Like, okay, as I say, Tanganyika is known for its breeding, all right? And they breed these to keep the genetic stock diverse. You know, you don't want to have so few individuals that you can't get any more, and now you risk breeding distant cousins, all right? You want to try and keep as much of the genetic stock diverse, like I said. However, where do these babies go? Because there's only so much room in zoos. Not every animal can be reintroduced like reptiles or birds can, but other animals like big cats or primates or other stuff, they can't be reintroduced. So where all do they go? So that's kind of, I mean, I know they go to other zoos, and sometimes zoos may not breed them, just they may skip a year on breeding, but I still think that that's an interesting story. You know, they have all this work dedicated to breeding, but it'd be interesting to know, you know, the decisions of where the animals go, who makes those decisions. So one last topic that I wanted to talk about was their lorikeets. I said that they put a new kind of lorikeet in there called an olive-headed lorikeet, not to be confused with the olive lorikeet that they have in there, or olive lorikeets. They have multiple. But I think that Tanganyika's lorikeet landing is the most diverse lorikeet habitat I've ever seen, because so they have like 3 or 4 subspecies of rainbow lorikeet, the Swainson's Blue Mountain, Forstons, and green napes, and then they also have the olive lorikeet, and then they have red-blue lorikeets and Stella's lorikeets and melanistic Stellas, and now they have the olive-headed lorikeet. So they have the most diverse, and I'm curious if they only got one or if they got a pair. So I only saw one, so maybe there are a couple. Maybe they had, maybe he was hiding, or the second one was hiding. I'm not sure, but I think that's interesting to try and I think that's something that Tanganyika should do more of, is trying to show the differences, like show little things like how many can you identify. I know places that have like butterflies, or even aviaries that have different kinds of birds. They'll have like the charts that show all the birds. I think that would be something to do with the lorikeets, in showing like the difference between the different rainbow lorikeet subspecies and then what other kinds they have. I know they used to have a chart that had the list of them, and it was up to me to try and figure out which ones were which was especially hard with the rainbow lorikeets. But I think that would be something helpful with education. And yeah, I think because the main thing about the rainbow lorikeets is to interact with them with the feeding, and you can ask the person their questions. But I think this would also be a good thing that people can do, because it would provide visuals and all that. So, but with that, I think we're done here, and I hope you enjoyed the second installment of BEC Trek After Thoughts. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as well as following us on our other social media platforms. And share this video out to anyone who likes all these theories that I'm putting out, all these ideas, or just random rants about zoos and animals in general. I thank you all for watching, and remember, always be prepared, do good daily, and love nature. For your life is a canvas, and you have the brush. Auf Wiedersehen!